Black Ops 6 Zombies has been out for almost a full year, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing an honest review on Black Ops 6 Zombies to see how it held up throughout the entirety of Black Ops 6. Now, I'm going to be looking at 5 categories here: the story, maps, gameplay, Easter eggs, and post-launch support to see if it was actually worth it or was this just a big flop. Now, before I begin, there are going to be timestamps in the video and in the description so you guys can skip to a specific part of the video if you guys want to. But grab yourself a bucket of popcorn, some Mountain Dew, whatever you guys want to have to drink or eat. This is going to be a long one. Let's discuss. Now, with the story of Black Ops 6 Zombies, we immediately take after Black Ops Cold War Zombies, where Peck actually goes to save some of his quote-unquote friends, on Terminus Island, so that Maya and Peck made a deal so that they can save Nathan and help take down Richtofen. And this is exactly how the story did unfold within Black Ops 6 Zombies. And the fun part is that there were some pretty awesome pinpoints that actually made me shock and awe, and some of you guys as well. First one being is that the Sentinel artifact returned, and last seen in Black Ops 4 Zombies, this was really a pinpoint in the story that just made my mouth drop. And it's funny because looking back, after seeing the Sentinel artifact, I thought the Chaos crew, last seen in Black Ops 4 Zombies, was going to make their ironic return here, but turns out they never did. They're just still MIA, and I really want that crew to come back. But after discovering the Sentinel artifact, we then went to Citadel Day More, and I felt like this was when the story was actually getting so good within Black Ops 6 Zombies, because not only did we find someone named Dr. Gabriel Kraft, there were 2 major events that actually unfolded here. One of them being a side Easter egg where Maya actually kills Franco, and the other one being the one that was so unexpected was that Dr. Edward Richtofen is Dr. Gabriel Kraft's son, and I remember my mouth dropping like, what is going on here? Like, what type of alternate universe are we in? And this made me want to dive deeper and deeper into the story, not only for that reason, but it just felt like another big pinpoint, like someone, essentially doing the Voodoo dolls, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, onto the back of you, just, spiking up the story. And this really did hit home to a lot of Zombies fans out there about this story alone. But this is where the story actually started to take a really big downfall, and I'm going to talk about this later in the map section and every other section going forward. But after we visited the tomb, we pretty much, got the Sentinel artifact fully restored, and we found it, and, that's pretty much the only kind of story point that we had in the tomb. Nothing really extravagant there. And with the Shattered Veil, we finally came face to face with Edward Richtofen, and I was just waiting for that moment where Edward Richtofen told Weaver that he pretty much burned, Richtofen's family in a fire, and I was just like, this is really about to go down right now. And that was another pinpoint in the story that actually, made my goosebumps go up. But I feel like after that, it just felt like, just weird, out of place stuff. Sure, some of the other characters were banned, like you had Carver talking, then you had Dr. Gray talking, and just everything else, but it didn't really feel as impactful as the very beginning of the story, when we got the reveal of the Sentinel artifact and Dr. Gabriel Kraft's kids. This is more of just like an awaiting to happen, and fast forwarding to the reckoning, where pretty much, the end is the end, and essentially what happened is, you either fight Sam or Richtofen, and I believe the canon ending is actually killing Sam, where therefore it's a perfect world. Richtofen gets his family back. But there's a very key point here that I feel like a lot of fans overlooked, in that we are going to the Dark Aether, obvious, but this is a really big turning point for the story, not only because we get our OG crew back within the end of Black Ops 6 Zombies, but we actually get to see what happens within the Dark Aether itself. But with the story of Black Ops 6 Zombies, it definitely makes a lot more sense than something like Black Ops 3 Zombies. With Black Ops 3 Zombies, all we were realistically doing is gathering souls of all the 4 characters. While that was a very basic and understanding story, Black Ops 6 Zombie stories, I feel like, takes a little bit of a better inspiration on how to do a story with Black Ops 6 Zombies. Although there were some actual downsides with the story, it really wasn't that bad, and honestly, I feel like the story could have been brightened up a lot more if there were actual intro cutscenes, which Black Ops 7 Zombies is obviously fixing, but that's for another video another day. But my biggest gripe with the story is, how quickly it fell off and there were no intro cutscenes. So for the story of this game, I have to say, it was an okay experience, definitely some amazing aspects of it, but nothing more great than the Black Ops 3 story. So for the maps, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in the post-launch section, but I want to talk about how they actually play, how they feel, how they look within this section of the video. But does anyone else feel this way about Black Ops 6 Zombies? Is that after Citadel, I felt like the zombies quality really started to go downhill, very quickly. Well, we had bangers, like Terminus and Liberty Falls, and a very strong DLC 1 map known as Citadel Day More. Everything after that just felt like a blur to me. Like, I don't quite remember it. Now, whether it was the gameplay of these maps, whether it was the aesthetics of these maps, Tomb being very similar aesthetically wise, color wise to Citadel Day More, it just felt very weird to play DLCs 2, 3, and 4, while the Reckoning itself was actually an incredible map with a lot of side Easter eggs and just very diverse gameplay. Kind of felt like Die Rise of Black Ops 2, but a lot more open and a lot better if, Die Rise was built in the modern era. But Treyarch has really kind of listened to our feedback. Instead of it being like Black Ops Cold War Zombies where everything felt more like a facility map, these maps were a lot more diverse than the facility maps that we had in Black Ops Cold War Zombies. We had an island map, we had a medieval castle map, we had an underground, tomb site, we had a mansion, and Janus Towers, which essentially was like this research facility for Edward Richtofen. Each map was very diverse. It's just, after Citadel, I just don't know what happened, and it's not like the maps itself were bad. Like, they didn't look bad at all. In fact, each one of these maps look aesthetically pleasing, especially Terminus, because you guys know me, I love my prison nighttime maps. That's a reason why I'm a big fan of Mob of the Dead instead of Origins from Black Ops 2. I really did like Terminus in the setting, and I really did like Citadel, but just the way that these maps flowed and just the way that it felt more like a casual sort of audience going with these maps. But if I had to actually place these maps with a previous game, they didn't feel like Cold War maps. They didn't obviously feel like Black Ops 3 maps. They kind of felt like Black Ops 4 maps. Now, obviously, there's two different gameplay dimensions between the two. Like, Black Ops 4 didn't really have armor or rarities, but the way that they look, the way that they feel, the way, how they were actually included, kind of did feel like a Black Ops 4 Zombies 5 experience, obviously minus the gameplay introductions. So the maps itself, up until Citadel, I'd have to say the maps are honestly the best that we have seen in a very long time within Call of Duty Zombies. But after the Tomb, it just really fell off, except for the Reckoning. But even the Reckoning is just this weird sort of environment, even though it looks cool and it has, like jumping down, anti-gravity rooms, and everything else in between. So for the map section of this video, I want to say that they're okay, but they're not the best. Okay, this is where the video might be talked about a lot. This is probably where I'll see the most comments in my video, and this is probably going to be one of the most controversial ones, and I'm talking about gameplay here. And personally, I have to agree with some of you guys out there. While I did enjoy Zombies for what it was this year, just something felt off. Kind of how I was talking about with Citadel, everything after the Tomb really felt off. The gameplay wise, I just don't know what happened. I was, finding myself playing more multiplayer after the Tomb just because the way that Zombies flowed this year. Like I said, I just don't know what happened, but they really did take a big step up from Black Ops Cold War and Black Ops 6 Zombies. So they did fix some of the way that the armor was introduced. They did fix the way some of the rarities are introduced. And overall, it really did feel like an uplift of Black Ops Cold War Zombies. And that's kind of what I liked about it. But what I didn't like about it is, obviously, you guys know some of the gripes that I have, is personally for me, I don't care about armor. I may receive some flack about that in the comment section below, but there are better ways that they can actually do the armor, like maybe having one armor vest instead of, having three, where you start with no armor and then you actually buy a 1-3 plate vest, which then fixes all the issues that might be coming a crutch. But honestly, it would fix a lot of the problems where people don't want to have armor. They don't have to have armor. If people want to have armor, they just have to buy one specific plate. That's all fine and dandy. The other thing that I just dislike about Zombies, the entirety of Zombies, and I hate this, and I'm going to be making a video on this if it's not already out, is that I hate the rarity system. I think it's one of the most stupidest things within Call of Duty Zombies, and I just think that they need to take it out or just have one single rarity, because I just feel like it just takes a lot longer to get set up in this modern era of zombies than it did in Black Ops 3 zombies. And even if they brought like a classic point system just straight from Black Ops 3 like they're doing with the curse mode in Black Ops 7, it's still not going to fix the core issue of how long it really does take to get set up. You know, same thing with the armor. You know, if there's going to be one sort of thing, it should be like an orange rarity, like maybe a wonder weapon, you know, rarity that is actually introduced to these weapons, so you don't have to spend an immense amount of salvage to actually upgrading your weapon, which really just does make the starting loadout weapon like why people use shotguns, why people use submachine guns, because people don't want to use the box because it's utterly useless, because you can actually get one of the best loadout weapons right off the get-go. Like, I remember everyone who's done Easter egg runs, they would pretty much pick the Maelstrom, use hidden power, use, you know, wall power, whatever they want to do, and just be set up round one, which is honestly, you know, the quickest someone can get set up. But for someone like me who really doesn't want to use Gobblegums to actually impact their gameplay, going through it round by round, you know, getting the green rarity, then getting the blue rarity, then getting the purple, then getting the orange, and then on top of that too, which is another big critique that I have, it's also not the biggest critique that I have, is that there are 3 pack-a-punch levels. Well, this isn't bad, I just wish they lowered the price on this, because there are so many other things you have to get points on. You know, you have to get points on buying triple armor, you have to get points on buying doors, you have to get points on, you know, buying perks, and just everything else in between. This really just did feel like a slow startup, but honestly, once you did get set up in like round 40 and round 50 came, it really did feel like a fun experience, because, you know, they did have a lot more mini bosses and a lot more everything just getting thrown at you. Sure, the super sprinters can be annoying at times, but I did feel like this did add a more dynamic gameplay than something like Black Ops 3 zombies, where every zombie was essentially just a runner. And I did really like that about high rounding within Black Ops 6 zombies. So overall, if I really just had to talk about the gameplay in one simple sentence, is that it was a much more defined version of Black Ops Cold War zombies and much more appreciated than Black Ops Cold War zombies. The only real criticism that I have is just making everything less annoying to set up with, like having one armor vest, like having one rarity, and like reducing the price of the pack-a-punch and maybe the perks. Like I said, maybe they're gonna fix that in curse mode within Black Ops 7 zombies as time goes on, but for overall gameplay, like I said at the very beginning, I liked it, but it just fell off for me. But high rounding in this game is honestly some of the best fun that I've ever had within zombies. So now here comes my favorite part of Black Ops Zombies in its entirety, what I mainly play zombies for. And if you guys have to listen to any part of this video, listen to this one, because I know what I'm talking about. So for Easter eggs within Black Ops 6 zombies, they were okay. Like, I did enjoy Terminus's Easter egg, and I did enjoy, you know, Citadel's Easter egg, and every other Easter egg kind of had like a minor impact on me. So I feel like the thing with Easter eggs nowadays is that they kind of want to make a balanced medium between difficult and easy, but cater more towards the casual side of everything, where it has decent puzzle solving, but it doesn't feel as difficult, you know, to the hardcore players. Like I said, this does feel more like a balanced medium between casual and hardcore players. And some of my favorite parts of the Easter eggs were honestly the boss fights. Now, each boss fight really did feel unique to each map. Terminus, we had the Kraken. Citadel, we had that mummy thingy, rock thingy. I believe it was Ravenov as a statue. I could be wrong on that, but who even knows? You know, we had that. Then we also had the Sentinel Artifact within Tomb. Shatterville, which is a really cool boss fight. I gotta go back and complete that. The, you know, T-Rex boss fight. And then in the Reckoning, honestly, one of the most hardest boss fights in Call of Duty Zombies history. You either had to pick Sam or Richthofen. Now, I believe personally that Richthofen is not the canon ending, like when you have to kill Richthofen, but it felt like a Dark Souls boss fight, because not only you had to fight him in the Uber class form, but then you had to fight him in his impossible water weapon form. And I remember seeing so much reactions on this, you know, on the YouTube, on the internet, Reddit, you know, Twitter, everything else in between, on how this boss fight really was the most difficult boss fight in Call of Duty Zombies history. And if I had to compare these boss fights to some other video game out there, you know, within the Call of Duty Zombies universe, they really did nail it out of the park. And I think these are some of the best boss fights within Call of Duty Zombies history. You know, you really do have like a raid-like experience, like the Sentinel artifact on the Tomb boss fight, and then you had your really casual boss fight, Liberty Falls. I mean, if you could even call it a boss fight, it was more of like a holdout. Honestly, really each boss fight really did feel unique, and I really want to do a plot Treyarch for that. But as to the actual Easter egg steps themselves, you know, they just felt, you know, kind of like a kid form of like Black Ops 3 Easter eggs. Sure, they really did feel unique to each and every single map out there, you know, getting the Wonder Weapon quest, you know, getting things like the Beam Smash or the Swords, the Ice Staffs. Really, every single step like that felt unique, but it just didn't feel quite like an IQ heavy sort of movement. Sure, they did release directive mode to actually show casuals and people who usually don't do Easter eggs like myself on how to actually do the Easter eggs, and therefore they can actually go complete it within game. But just a little side note here, if you guys have ever played, you know, directive mode within Black Ops 6 Zombies and actually try to do the Easter egg, I swear to God it's impossible, because these people, and they like don't actually read the directions. You know, I get it, it's marketed more as an easy mode, but I've actually tried this, and if you guys want me to do a video on this, I will. It's literally impossible to get casuals to do an Easter egg, even with guided attacks. So for that reason, you know, casual mode, directive mode, whatever you guys want to call it, is fine. It's not really for my player base, it's more for the casuals. But honestly, for the Easter egg side of things, I really do have to say the Easter eggs themselves, like the steps and the maps that they were on, were okay. The side Easter eggs as well were okay. I'm not really a big side Easter egg person. I'm more of a main quest person. But the boss fights were the best that we have ever seen within Call of Duty Zombies history. And if you really are a big boss fight person, I recommend to each one of you giving each boss fight a try, because trust me, you will not be disappointed. So the post-launch support of Black Ops 6 Zombies, excluding the maps, I mean, obviously I have to talk about them real quick because they were involved in the post-launch support, is that we did receive 4 maps throughout the years, which was fine. I did talk about those in the map section of my video, but I just don't know what happened after the Tomb. It really did fall off for me. But as for like events, game modes, gobblegums, perks, we really did receive a ton of content if you guys really look back on it. Now, I remember the shock to some of these things that were actually revealed, like Vultures is actually coming back, and the big perk that nobody expected to come back was Double Tap. And honestly, that was the biggest shock that we've ever seen within the Call of Duty Zombies community. Of course, it had to be on something like Shattered Veil, which not a lot of people like, but hey, besides the point, we finally got the perk. It's gonna be returning at Black Ops 7. Now, for the event side of things, you know, we did receive a few leaderboard events. We did receive a few Gobblegum Challenge events, you know, stuff like that. And honestly, it really did keep the Black Ops 6 Zombies fresh. Like I said, it just fell off for me. I'm not going to keep on saying that so you guys get the idea. But we did receive, you know, a bunch of those events to actually keep the Zombies player base, you know, fun and engaged and everything else in between, like those leaderboard events. Same thing with the LTMs that we have gotten as well. You know, we had things like the Jingle Hells, Cowabunga Cranked, and, you know, things like we have now, like the Haunted Havoc, and also one game mode that a lot of people weren't expecting to come back was Grief. And if you guys don't know what Grief is, I'll briefly summarize it just in case you didn't buy the game when you're watching this, you know, before you actually purchase it, which I'll talk about in a second. Is that it's pretty much just 4v4 game mode, you know, that it was returned from Black Ops 2 Zombies, and this really does, you know, make it more challenging and more of like a multiplayer experience for Black Ops 6 Zombies. And if you really like that type of experience, you know, it's definitely there for you. And honestly, the post-launch support was definitely fun-filled. We also did receive some brand new Gobblegums and some returning Gobblegums from the series, which really did make the series fresh, and, you know, returning field upgrades, and also, you know, brand new ammo mods. So you did have a lot of equipment and weapons to actually play around with. You know, the post-launch support really was there. Like I said, I'm just going to say this one last time, I fell off during the whole entire thing, so I really didn't get to experience much of it because I was too busy playing multiplayer, because I just don't know what happened. But overall, for the post-launch support of this game, I really do have to say they nailed it out of the park with this one. Much better than Cold War or Modern Warfare Zombies. Now for my final verdict of Black Ops 6 Zombies, and if you guys just skip to the entirety of the whole video and just skip to this section, sure, why not? Hello there, my name is Bear Z, but besides the point, you know, getting the jokes aside, you know, Black Ops 6 Zombies was okay. Definitely the best modern era version of zombies that we've ever had, and I'm pretty sure Black Ops 7 Zombies is going to blow Black Ops 6 Zombies right out of the water. But the funny thing is that if you guys are going to purchase Black Ops 6 Zombies, I don't recommend it for mainly one reason, in that pretty much essentially Black Ops 7 Zombies, the game that is soon going to be coming out as of me making this video, is essentially going to be Black Ops 6 Zombies, but a lot better, with a ton of quality of life improvements, and who knows, maybe they actually may carry forward all of these maps within Black Ops 7 Zombies, which pretty much makes Black Ops 6 Zombies, you know, practically unusable. Like, you can go back and experience it, sure, if you want to use the weapons, but other than that, it's really not going to be worth it picking up Black Ops 6 Zombies. Not because the gameplay itself, I mean, it's controversial, but not really that bad, and not because the story is not the greatest, but just because Black Ops 7 Zombies is essentially Black Ops 6 Zombies 0.5, essentially. And if you guys are going to pick up that, I'd recommend picking up Black Ops 7 Zombies. And honestly, I'll be doing the same type of review for this one, but as far as I can say with Black Ops 7 Zombies, it is going to be much better than this. So try to avoid this game at all costs, unless they don't carry forward the maps. Then pick this game up and give it a go. But now it's your turn down there in the comment section below. Do you guys like Black Ops 6 Zombies? Did you guys hate Black Ops 6 Zombies? I want to know your favorite and your least favorite part within this entire year of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Zombies, and I will be reading all the comments, and I will be, you know, replying to every single comment out there, because I really want to hear your guys' experience with this one, because I am genuinely curious. And I just want to say, if you guys did stick around to the entire end of the video, if you guys watched 21 minutes or 22 minutes of me yapping about Black Ops 6 Zombies, you know, thank you guys so much for that support. It really does mean a lot, and this is going to be my last Black Ops 6 Zombies video here on the channel. I know I didn't do a ton of it, but you know, hey, here we are today. This is going to be the last Black Ops 6 Zombies here on the channel, but maybe if I go back and do like gameplay challenges and stuff like that, then we will. But other than that, you know, I just want to say goodbye, Black Ops 6. You know, you were the best modern era zombies out of all time. But I cannot wait for Black Ops 7 Zombies, because you're essentially going to be its, you know, least better, you know, brother out there. But if you guys did enjoy the video, please smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you guys do want to see more up-to-date Zombies content as we dive into news, theories, reviews, and old nostalgic content right here on the channel. I just want to say, you know, thank you guys so much for watching this entire video. If you did, you know, stay blessed out there. This is Bearsy signing off. Stay healthy, stay clean. Bye.